But the key concept here is that emergency preparedness for high school sporting injuries needs to be a priority in small town USA.
On Scene is sponsored by Star Academy.
Hey, welcome back to On Scene, the First Responder Podcast. I'm George. We've got
Matt. How you doing?
Scott.
The Scott Hell.
And I'm Ben.
Everybody hears us say all the time, "Hi, Ben," and now they get to see who Hi, Ben is.
We need to make sure that when you edit this video, my face is blurred the entire time.
I can do that. I can make that happen. That'll be great. And we've got a caller on the phone who's going to talk today. We are calling this one
Friday Night Lights with Dr. James Kyle.
Matt, you want to introduce?
Yeah, so thank you for joining us again. Like George said, my name is Matthew Snuffer with Snuffer Training and Rescue Academy. And today on Scene, we're going to be talking about the medical timeout with Dr. Kyle and the Kyle group with school just starting back up this past couple weeks. Football season is now upon us. And what better time to talk about medical timeout than today? So, Dr. Kyle, are you with us?
I'm here. I'm down in Lewisburg today.
Excellent. Well, first of all, thank you for taking your time out of your crazy busy schedule to be with us today, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much, Matt. It's a pleasure to work with the Star Academy.
And so, Dr. Kyle, we were talking a little bit ago, just before the show, about some of the excellent advances and things that you've been doing with the Kyle group and with medical timeout and how far it's come. You want to give us a quick overview of what you've been doing, what you've been up to the past couple of years?
Well, thank you. I appreciate you asking. We've really made some significant changes to the format of the Friday night medical timeout pregame checklist in the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And it's been a focus on a couple things. One is making the back page of the MTO more educational with the addition of QR codes for things like early recognition of athlete sudden cardiac arrest, on-field C-spine management decisions, and of course exertional heat stroke, which has been in the news. Mm-hmm. On the front page, we started this initiative in southern West Virginia in Region 1 in 2013, Matt. That's how many years ago? 12?
Been about 12 years ago, yeah.
And the front page is with the check box has undergone a few different changes. But we pretty much have kept the format of the 10 check boxes in the top left-hand corner to make sure that the EMS present at the game, the athletic trainers, physicians, school officials all know the key points and thought processes to go through prior to kickoff to make sure you've got the equipment needed and awareness of early recognition of problems.
Excellent. So you say you started this back in 2013. What drove this initiative to begin with? As far as I know, we started seeing like an uptick in sudden cardiac arrests in young athletes. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, Scott Hale and I started this at Concord University, actually in 2012 as a pilot for the Concord University Mountain Lion team. And then we took it to Region 1 in 2013. In 14, we went down to the big city of Atlanta, Georgia, we'd had success in small town USA. We went to the metropolitan scene, and it worked well there too. But the key concept here is that emergency preparedness for high school sporting injuries needs to be a priority in small town USA.
Absolutely. Could not agree more.
And it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I've ever covered a sporting event and the truck drives up, I'm going to go meet the team of medics and share that information with the visiting team physician. It's just common sense to make sure you know what you got, who's going to do what, how you communicate. If there's a C-spine injury, how do you communicate for the need for backboarding? What sort of information is present on athlete health that's important pre-game? It's just common sense to me.
And I think he's been a little modest here. Dr. Kyle's been credited with the development of this, and Mr. Hamilton's save with the Giants. The NFL adopted this. The NCAA's adopted it. Dr. Kyle was at Major League Baseball, National Soccer League. I mean, this is now not just a little West Virginia thing. Dr. Kyle's got this advanced to the professional level.
It's no longer small town West Virginia is what you're saying.
Yeah, so Dr. Kyle, you need to give yourself a little bit more credit there.
Yeah. I think the work that he's done has been phenomenal. Like getting the education out there. I was honored to be a small part of that over the past few years and helping him with some of the research. And we looked at some of the time trials when he was developing the new protocols for like the first 5 WISE 5. And then also implementing those new protocols on the first 5. I was fortunate enough to be able to go out and teach some of the local high schools and get with their trainers and their coaches, and it was a very good experience, and I'm fortunate to have done that. And that's why I wanted him on here today, is just so we could get the awareness out there even that much more. But like you said, it's already gone global, but we really need to let people know, how important this is and how far it's actually come. To say, what he's done for sports medicine is just, it's incredible, honestly.
Well, thank you very much. But one of the things I'm most proud of, this Friday night medical timeout, is being used and has been used since 2017 at the biggest high school in the state of Texas.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
At Allen High School, and one of our leaders who helps us with the yearly designs, Mary Miller, the athletic trainer at Allen, now is at Anna High School, also in the greater Dallas area. But it works when you have 2 team physicians for each high school, several athletic trainers, and 3 squads of EMS. You can see the photo of the Allen High School MTO in gyms. We published that last year in July in the Journal of Emergency Medical Services. And there's Mary Miller in this big stadium using the Friday night medical timeout.
Wow.
Well, heck, it wasn't any better than what the team stat did at the Wyoming East West Side game 2 weeks ago. They had 3 trucks.
What happened?
They had lots of people posted in the stands. They had communication. It works whether or not your team physician and certified athletic trainer loaded, and it works when you don't have those people.
Right.
All because you meet before and figure out who's on first.
Exactly.
Who does what?
So the main idea is to have a system.
The big high schools, as well as small town USA, I think is a compliment to pioneers like Scott Hell and Paul Seaman and UMass that helped us design it in those early years, so that no matter where it goes, it works.
Right. So this kind of gives us a standardized set of protocols, so to speak, and gets everybody on the same page for what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, when the worst should happen.
I think the breakdown of it is it's pre-planning. It's
Yes.
identifying what resources you have in resource management.
Right.
You can write a protocol all day long. If you don't have that resource available, well, then where do I go in that arm of the protocol? The medical timeout allows you to identify what arms of that protocol are available and what additional resources am I going to need? How do I get those additional resources?
Right.
And how long are those additional resources going to take to get to me? So the medical timeout just brings all that into a unification that allows you to facilitate an emergency quickly, promptly, and efficiently.
So when a player goes down, what are some of the most common things you would see if he went into sudden cardiac arrest? What would happen? Just for
that's all in the back of our back page of the MTO, and it's a video. Pretty short video by Dr. John Dresner from the West Coast, Seattle, team physician for the Seahawks and the Huskies, and chair of the UW Sports Cardiology Group. It shows eyes open, still breathing, chest moving, in VFib.
And those are signs that we don't normally see as providers when we're responding to a typical cardiac arrest.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's a seizure,
Right.
and they don't realize they need to put the cardiac monitor on them. AED placement's essential at that point in time.
Yes, and even the Matt Snuffers, the Paul Siemens, and the Scott Hells can count on one hand the number of times in their career they've seen or been participating in a witnessed in exercise collapse, cardiac arrest.
Facts.
You guys are using to show up after the call and things have already happened at home.
Right.
Yeah, we're already 15 to 20 minutes behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is much different thought process, and that early recognition is the key to survival with early recognitions, hands on chest.
So when a player goes down and we witness these early signs of the patient being in cardiac arrest, walk us through some of the steps in your first 5 protocol. How we should be responding to this.
Well, yeah, the whole initiative is called the WISE 5.
Mm-hmm.
And the WISE 5 got its birth the week after the Damar Hamlin cardiac arrest occurred on national TV in early January 23.
Right. That's one that I believe everybody's familiar with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was obvious is that things didn't work too good in the beginning. He was on the field of play more than 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So if an athlete goes down and you do everything right in the first 5 minutes with 2 AED shots, early hands on chest, and it's not working, what do you do next? You're going to find out if it's shockable versus non-shockable with the cardiac monitor.
Mm-hmm.
You're assuming it's going to be shockable. What do you do next? You got all sorts of things you can do. You can go airway, you go IV, you can go this, go that. How about end-tidal CO2? How about automated CPR? What do you do next in small-town USA?
Right.
And that's where Scott and Paul and the team trainer, our team medic for UGA, Glenn Henry, and the University of Michigan leader, Daryl Conway, and others joined hands and helped us work through the process of what is your sequence of interventions.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, first thing, hands-on CPR, getting that started, getting them out of their pads, getting the AED on them. Is now with this initiative, we now have AEDs at the sideline ready to go. and shocking it, obviously, if it's shockable.
But with the Wise 5, we're teaching people to get the AD on and not wait till you take the pads off.
Right.
We're teaching people how to implement what they do on a daily basis, now more applicable to an athlete that's got gear a lot of people are not used to.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we've taken it a step
further.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I mean, and, you know, you were talking about the times. There's great things coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with the ROSC stuff we're working on now, you know, from last compression till patient stabilized and going in the truck 6 minutes. That's you know, using a multitude of pharmacology and advanced airways and patient monitoring and looking at their systolic blood pressure. There's just some great things coming.
Right.
I don't want to spoil it for him.
And, you know, Dr. Kyle did mention, you know, end-tidal CO2, which, in my opinion, I feel like it's so underutilized. And part of our mission here is making sure people have the most up-to-date information and trying to raise that bar in education in West Virginia. So, yeah, I just wanted to.
But with that, we need to emphasize waveform capnography and not just the easy cap. An easy cap just gives you, we got something's going on.
Yeah. It's pointless
Yeah.
after the first six squeezes.
We definitely have to emphasize waveform capnography
And
trending.
But Matt,
Trending.
those are expensive. We can't use those.
Well, that should always be a last point of consideration. But, you know, it has come so far in the past few years. You can use end-tidal to dictate your every intervention during a cardiac arrest now, and even when when to cease efforts and stuff like that. But in Dr. Kyle's case, and these young athletes going down, I could definitely see it would be a very useful tool.
And it's not restricted to an AT tube. You can use it with a superglottic airway.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
standard 15 millimeter adapter.
Or just a BVM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't even
Yeah.
have to have an airway in.
Yeah.
But then getting back to talking about the medical timeouts and everything, I love how it gets everybody on the same page, as far as that way there's no guesswork. You know what comes next, and you know what comes next because the amount of work that this team has put into the team being the Kyle group and everybody involved in figuring out, because like he said, what comes next, what is the best intervention, and that's the legwork that they've been working on is doing the studies and figuring out, well, do we do airway next? Do we need to get the IVs and get cardiac drugs on board, with the epinephrine? And that's what he's been working very hard to figure out. And as he finishes these protocols and everything, I'm excited about it.
Well,
So to the point, both end-tidal and IV, after about the first 18 months of study, now we have 3 fellowship-trained emergency physicians on the Wise 5. We have Dr. Jimmy Scheidler, Morgantown and Region 5 Regional Director, who's fellowship trained in EMS. Dr. Woods Curry from the University of Cincinnati. He was the guy for DeMar Hamlin, did his resuscitation. And Dr. Andy McCoy, who's the medical director for Seattle 1, also fellowship trained.
Right.
And with their guidance, there is no IV on the field, Matt, for shockable athlete sudden cardiac arrest.
Right. So
It goes from the initial primary response team to vector change with AP pad placement, max energy 1, max energy 2, max energy 3, while you get your airway and your mechanical CPR device ready to rock.
and that is so important, and kind of goes against how a lot of paramedics have been trained in the past, because they're
Right. You want to get your IV. And
Exactly.
And in the case of non-shockable, guess what's first?
What's that?
End-tidal and IV.
There you go.
Now you got that end-tidal. You get a nice end-tidal of 25 early on. You're thinking it could be Scotty's pseudo PEA.
Yeah. So, well, tell me a little bit about that for the ones who don't understand or know about what pseudo PEA is.
Oh, wow. Pseudo PA, in the last 5 or 6 years, they really drilled down on it. And what they found out was about 60% of the people we said were dead were not dead. They actually have ventricular wall motion. POCUS is your best friend with that, but
Absolutely.
you know, you can actually see a small pleth in pseudo PEA with end-tidal CO2. You can actually see a small pleth with pulse oximetry with some pseudo. But the only way you're really going to identify pseudo PEA again is with, you know, a quick look with POCUS or an art line. And I don't see us dropping art lines anytime soon.
No, but I do know point-of-care ultrasound in the field is not far behind.
No, and Dr. Kyle's been pushing that since, my gosh, we started at Concord. You know, we did a trial run with it too, identifying fractures and some simple stuff.
Right.
But
I can definitely see the benefits.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of agencies in Virginia that are already using it in the field.
Right.
But you just don't see, you know, we thought about this, but you just don't see pseudo PA in athletes. You know, in the normal population we might, but, you know, athletes have a different pathophysiology going on with their cardiac arrest. And Dr. Kyle can talk more about that. And Dr. Marv Wang's really contributed a lot to that.
Yeah, the difficulty in that is that there are just not that many cases
Right.
of adolescent sudden cardiac arrest in exercising people to understand the real story.
Mm-hmm.
It appears that the biggest problem is not having early recognition.
Right.
So they're down on the field. Nothing's done the first few minutes. It's practice field. And by the time that EMS gets there, they're in a resistant, shockable rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there might be something there, Scotty, for COPA and the athlete who has not a rapid response, but an intermediate response, and they get those two shocks. And you come on scene, you can't feel a pulse, but you got a complex.
Sure.
Yeah. And I don't disagree. You know, in the world of energy drinks,
The heart's
Exactly.
the heart's pumping. It's just not pumping quite hard enough.
So,
Right.
and it also has a little translation into sickle cell trait exercise collapse.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they don't just drop, they sort of melt over the course of 15 or 20 minutes. So it's a delayed cardiac arrest.
do they show signs of crisis prior to that potentially?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, boom, the reason they're arresting is they're hyperkalemic from their renal insult from rhabdo.
Okay.
So they're going to have the characteristic YQRS with PT.
And that's another
So
thing
gotta
we need
get
to
that
do.
message out there. There have been 2 or 3 sickle cell collapses in the last 2 weeks, both in collegiate and high school football. I haven't had a chance to talk to you about those recently, Scott, but
Yeah.
we're going to include some education in an upcoming video on at the University of Georgia on vital sign trending in sports trauma and having a case of sickle cell trait collapse, just like the video we produced. It's the second video, Scotty, the one we did back in 2012 in Beckley.
Awesome.
Okay.
And I think we need P charts. You know, high school athletes need P charts. What color's your urine? If it's this color, you need to tell somebody immediately.
Right.
You know, rhabdo's wicked. Rhabdo can kill your kidneys and just complicate a metabolic storm. And, you know, we need to help these young students and their parents identify a problem before it's really a big problem.
Right.
Do you carry dipsticks on the trucks?
No, sir.
I guess it's sort of messy,
Yeah. Yeah. It might get a little messy.
but you can get a urinal, dip it.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. It might be a little bit messy, but in certain circumstances, like especially with sports medicine, that might be something you could add on.
Okay.
Let me make a comment here, sort
Yeah.
of on
Absolutely.
for those squads that are doing the medical timeouts, that are listening to the STAR broadcast, sort of preaching to the choir, but it's so important, so very important, that if you're a fire department or an EMS agency covering a high school football team, you got to show up in the month of August on scene and go through some scenario-based training. It's crucial.
Yes.
It's just not acceptable to show up 15 minutes prior to kickoff on the last Friday in August and do your job right.
Right.
Yeah, you got to familiarize yourself with the equipment, how to take the face mask off, what type of shoulder pads they're using. Just familiarize yourself, because when the feces hits the fan, it's not the time to be trying to figure out how we're going to address this.
Yeah, and particularly the one I want everybody to do in West Virginia, Matt, is to rehearse what happens when you've got a brief loss of consciousness with a concussion, and you go out there, the athlete's awake, and says, my hands feel numb.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking C-spine. You've got to rehearse and decide ahead of time who's doing what. I don't want Scotty Hale with C-spine control.
Right.
I want Scotty Hale to be the conductor of the orchestra, hands-free to help in the whole process, whether it's going to be a multi-person lift, a log roll push or pull. I want Scotty's hands-free.
And
I can teach a student trainer how to C-spine and immobilize.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why this prior planning and having these training sessions with these high schools is so vitally important.
Like when Wyoming East, when I was their trainer down there and invited you and Dr. Kyle to come down, and we hosted that train. What was that, about 4 years ago? Mm-hmm. And we did just that. Like the coaches, we had brand new coaches. They'd never even looked at taking the face section of a helmet off or how to properly remove one. And
right.
I remember Dr. Kyle was there, and we did a few scenarios like that, and even worked with the football team players on assisting.
Right. And well, you can see, when we first got there, how awkward it was, and the mistakes that was made. If we didn't give them that training and they were trying to do that out on the field of play, and all the fumbling and possible harm that could have came to that patient, that's why it's so important to get this, raise the awareness and have the trainings.
Well, and back in the day, that's all it was. We would show up for a shift and be told by the squad, "Hey, you're going to the football game today." Okay, what? Oh, you just sit on the sideline. The athletic trainer will tell you if they need you.
Right.
No,
and that rarely happens.
No, rarely. Yeah, they never need you. They've got it.
No, hey, if you see an X symbol, me holding up with my arms, that means everybody come out.
Yep. Just stand there and wait for everybody to start storming the field. And then whenever you did have to go out, it was 100% of the time a giant cluster.
Yeah.
And Dr. Kyle, we're about to run out of time here, but one thing I think we've identified in the last week or two that you might also want to address with this is safety. We teach EMTs, scene safe. And in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've heard reports of teams addressing an injured athlete and being attacked by the crowd and being verbally abused and spit on, and identifying your security measures in your medical timeout and what to do if this happens, and when are we going to the truck and when are we not going to the truck. You want to talk about that real quick?
Well, we've got a small box on the front page, and it's called Scene Control Plan. I think next year, Scotty, we're going to have to put it up a little bit further and define it a little better, because that's not really something that you think you have to put in place.
Right.
It's something we take for granted.
Yeah,
we do. But
personal safety,
it's becoming more and more of an issue.
And why is that?
I don't know, Dr. Kyle. I wish I did. I think it's a shift in mindset, and I'm not sure what started it. But we're seeing more of it, not just at sporting events, but on everyday calls. You're all time hearing about where providers have been assaulted in the field, or even in the hospital, nurses and staff getting assaulted. It's becoming more and more of a thing, which is probably an episode for another day too. But we do need to raise awareness and talk about what to do in those situations. What are your options, and about putting together a a plan of action, so to speak, and knowing what's to do when you have those type of, not just the patients but their families too a lot of times.
And this will
love to partner with the Star Institute to help us in that as we move forward.
Yeah.
And also would like to challenge the three of you to help us pick some EMS leaders in Southern West Virginia to make a commitment for on-field equipment removal in suspected C-spine, because daggone it, the emergency rooms are laying on the table with all their equipment and the backboard for too long. They need to be taken off on the field.
Nice.
Yeah.
Backboard's a moving device. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Dr. Kyle, I've got to say I am really impressed with the way this thing has grown. You may not remember, but back in 2013 or 14, I worked at Stat EMS in the education department and a field operations supervisor. And I think the first time I met you, we ended up going to a grade school down in Pineville and putting on a training for we even let kids come through. Kids come through, got to see AED and play a little bit with CPR, and we taught the staff there that day. And I think we even went to Wyoming East High School after that, and maybe West Side.
Yes, that was fun. Barb Kyle, the president of the Kyle Group, put together that initiative, and it was very well received. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point, Joel. This is something we need to address. You know, it's working good in junior high. It's working good in high school, where we've got structure and regulation. But we really need to drill down and get this in midget league.
Oh, yeah.
You got kids wearing helmets too big, pads that don't fit them.
True.
Parents think their kid's going to be the next scholarship star NFL player. You know, I mean,
At 8 years old.
we've got to figure a way to address these guys' needs and screen them and make sure they're safe too.
All we're doing is giving little kids TBIs for no reason.
Right.
Because we're not getting them properly equipped and safe.
Yeah, that's definitely something to look at. So yeah, I think it's going to wrap it up for us. Does anybody got any final comments they would like to address with Dr. Kyle?
Well, Dr. Kyle, it's good to hear from you. I'd love to see you come down and take a tour of our facility. And
yes, anytime. Love to have you.
Have you here? Love to have you on the podcast in person. It'd be fun. We video this thing, so there'll be video going up. I'll get this uploaded as soon as possible, and I'll have Scott or Matt let you know when it's on.
Well, thank you very much. Would love to do so. Would love to come on campus there and follow up podcasts, anything related to emergency preparedness.
Absolutely.
And emergency action plans for high school sports is so important, because I want to tell you, we need it more than ever in our high schools, junior high, middle schools, high schools across the state, because lessons learned being a member of a team sport with discipline, hard work, physical and mental fitness, you can't teach that any other way.
Exactly.
And to everybody on here that's an EMS agency, you know, go to your administration and encourage them. Hey, have you talked to your local high school? You need to go talk to them and be part of their EAP planning.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you need to get out there and be proactive. And
We
encourage
definitely
that.
need more involvement. Absolutely. And, you know, like I said, that's kind of our mission here, and what we're doing with the podcast and with the training center is not just about following the guidelines or following the set standards, but raising that bar and being the standard. And part of that as well is, you know, finding those needs and giving back to the community and just being involved. And that's why it's so important to have people like Dr. Kyle, who are, you know, he's not just a standard, he wrote the book, you know. So, and the more guests we can have on this and more awareness we can get out about certain things, the better off, you know, our communities are going to be for it, and our providers are going to be for it, you know, because we're trying to get them the most up-to-date information. And some things that we talk about, a lot of people don't even think about, you know, especially like, you know, when it comes to football, high school football. Who would have thought how chaotic it can get if you're not very well prepared, and if you don't have these practice sessions regularly.
Yeah.
Dr. Kyle, do you have any final thoughts to leave us with today?
Yes, the Kyle Group website, the Kyle Group, has several good educational videos posted, including we did one at James Monroe High School down in Lindside last year, showing how well that works without a doctor or a certified trainer. So be sure and have your audience go on there and check. All these videos are short, 5 minutes or less, and they really do tell a picture.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you, Dr. Kyle. I do appreciate you taking time to be with us.
You're welcome.
Today,
Thank you, Matt.
I look forward to working with you a lot more in the future on this and other projects.
Okay, George, you make sure you get good sound bites and photos of those two guys.
Oh, I absolutely will. I'll get it posted up, and I'll make sure that one of these guys lets you know when it's available. Thanks again, Dr. Kyle, for joining us. And look forward to doing it again. Take care. All right, he is off the air, and that's going to end it for us. Ben, like me, we didn't get a whole lot of talk time, but did we really need it? I mean, we got a lot of work going on. Got EMT class orientation tonight and tomorrow night. Should be a good time. If anybody out there listening missed it, you have one more chance. Either show up tomorrow if I get this put out today, or next week, but be sure to give us a call sometime before next Thursday, or shoot us an email, info.starwv@gmail.com. Ben, got anything?
I'm good.
Say bye, Ben.
Bye, Ben.
Bye, Ben.
All right, y'all drive safe.
Thank you.
Some content on this show could be considered offensive or graphic in nature. The views and opinions expressed on the On Scene podcast are solely those of the hosts and guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any affiliated organizations, sponsors, or third parties. The content is provided for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. On Scene Podcast, Star Academy, and their staff or affiliates are not responsible for the actions of any person who uses information from this show in their medical practice or decision-making. Listeners are encouraged to use their own discretion and conduct further research before making any decisions based on the information presented. In other words, don't be a dummy.